G'day and welcome back to another Dbz Dokkan Metal video. In this video we are going to be taking on the Giant Ape Power Challenge for the Legendary Goku event. Now, full disclaimer, the thumbnail, the title of the video is a tad misleading. I say no LR Gogeta no problem, but in reality we have a friend LR Gogeta because I may not have one. But it doesn't mean I can't bring a friend. So that's kind of my solution to get around it. It solves pretty much the entire problem. And it makes the rest of the team function pretty nicely indeed. So there's not too much else really you need to worry about. The strength of the LRSS4s is very, very strong. We've taken one that's got I think 2 dupes. It's a 79%er. So gonna get carried quite a bit. There are a couple phases in the fight you do need to be worried about. We'll talk about them when we get there. Overall, the team itself is pretty good. We have the LRSS Force, we have the Int Vegeta and the Physical Goku, the GT Heroes leads, and we also obviously have the Giant Ape Power lead in the form of the Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. So we have a very obviously ape-centric team, but we have a pretty nice team overall. So we've got this AGL Vegeta, we've got the Strength Goku, both of them obviously easy aid. My Vegeta is at 100%, so that is something to be aware of when you do see how he performs. I think Vegeta, the AGL one, is definitely one of the biggest liabilities when you get to the final stage, because obviously you're facing a tech type opponent. Now the fortunate thing is with obviously taking a friend Gogeta, you can kind of circumvent this a little bit because you have the ability to obviously burst through the final phase quite quickly. But the AGL Vegeta, he does okay, but you will need items to tank in the final phase. He takes a pretty large amount of damage. So that AGL Vegeta is pretty good. Both him and the Goku are obviously pretty good. They have attack and defense of 150% and defense of 120% for Vegeta, and for Goku it's the inverse, so the same for both of them. But Vegeta will gain 40% attack when performing a super attack, medium chance of countering and evading, and the same with Goku. Vegeta greatly raises defense for 1 turn and causes immense damage to the enemy, and greatly lowers defense. He also raises his attack by 30% for 6 turns. Goku, on the other hand, greatly raises attack for 1 turn, but raises his defense by 30% for 6 turns. So they're kind of the soft inverse of each other. They're pretty good to run together. They share the majority of their major links, so they definitely are one pairing. My Goku only has 1 dupe in him. So if you're impressed by Vegeta, Goku is pretty impressive as well. I think overall Goku was honestly the better unit out of the two. The stacking defense for 6 turns ends up working just a lot better overall for the way the stats work, and his attack stats pretty much remain comparable the whole way through. Obviously he takes a bit of damage here in this AGL phase, but generally the AGL phase comes so early in the fight that we don't really run that big a risk running strength type units, and that is something to just point out. You can run quite a few strength type units in the LGEGT. It is something that's pretty good overall. Then we've got the SS4, the physical SS4. We're going to be linking them up with the Vegeta. I went with Vegeta over the Goku because Goku's AGL type and he doesn't have an EZA or anything, so in the final phase he can take a lot of damage. I only also have 1 dupe in him. Whereas with Vegeta, I have him rainbowed, and as long as I get him as 18 key, he should, in theory, be fine. He should, in theory, be fine for, that final round there. So, I think overall, that's kind of what I was thinking at the time in taking Vegeta. Also, obviously my Vegeta being rainbowed comparatively to a 1 dupe Goku, I thought it was the better gamble. So yeah, that's kind of in essence the team build. Obviously, the physical Super Saiyan 4s, they are honestly really, really good, and they're carrying the entire run. For the most part, they carry the entire run. The team itself has exquisite damage. Don't get me wrong, the team has really good damage, and we get some crucial counters as well on super attacks. I think it is to be noted that the counters on the super attacks are very, very good. This Vegeta and the SS4 Goku floating as well do a lot of really solid damage and are very defensively sound. So we have a very, very solid team build with the ability to give the stacks to the SS4s on a lot of occasions. We're able to get them to the point where they just rip roar through the final couple phases. So this team would not have been able to clear it beforehand, but with the SS4s, a lot of them are running under additional lead. So the Goku, both Gokus, the Gogeta, all are running with that additional Kamehameha lead. So you're getting a lot of extra value by having the LR. So compared to if I was to run this before, I would probably be running double in Vegetos. In Vegeto just doesn't do the same level of work as the physical LR. I think he's aged pretty well, actually. I really like him. One thing you can do, or a couple of things you can do to improve your run. So this team has pretty high damage right off the bat. So if you are looking at improving your run a little bit, I would actually suggest switching in defensive bronze equips. The 500 defense isn't going to do a huge amount, but the way all their passives work, with the way how multiplicative they are, you actually will shimmy a little bit more of the damage than you'd think. In terms of equipment, other than that, you want to go crit. All of them naturally hit high attack stats. I think the Int GT Vegeta is the naturally lowest hitter, and he's like a 3.5 million hitter. So they all hit pretty hard, basically. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to obviously build around that and have them all bring crit. It's basically going to make them miles better. The crit attack stats are going to help them to chunk through, and you're going to be seeing a lot better results basically overall. In terms of anything else, obviously a long-term plan or a long-term suggestion would be to link level them. It's not always the most exciting process, but in terms of Super Saiyan 4 units, it's unfortunately very, very helpful. A lot of them have this very, very cool link called Saiyan Raw. Saiyan Raw gives 10% defense, and a lot of them also have GT, which shares another 10% defense. So when you factor in that they all have prepared for battle, and most of them will have shocking speed, you're already looking at, in total, 30% defense to gain from link leveling, which when you're in an event that's pretty fine-tuned and is in-game, it's gonna help. And I don't always like to suggest link leveling as a massive way of improving units, but when you've got so much defense on the table, it's pretty important to do. Attack-wise, there's not so much. You're looking at like 20% comparatively, but 30% defense is a lot. It's a lot for units to have in their links, and the way it'll work with how their passives stack for multiple turns, or how they gain defense on orbs, like a lot of it's just going to help. The Strength Goku, the AGL Vegeta, both have Saiyan Raw, GT, Shocking Speed. All of them are really good. The Int Gogeta, he doesn't have Saiyan Raw, but he's got GT, so you're going to gain a lot of defense from that. He's also got Shocking Speed as well. So there's a lot of value to be had. Same with the LR. If you do have them, obviously run double LR leads. And then I would suggest actually switching out if you switch out Int Gogeta and you switch in the LR, you'll obviously be running the same team. But you can keep Int Gogeta. I think Int Gogeta does fine the whole way through. I don't actually think there's too much of an issue with Int Gogeta. The GT duo, like the Goku and the Vegeta, they're pretty solid as well. They also have GT, so again, 10% defense to be gained from there. But they're fine, because the whole time you're running GT Heroes category units. So they're honestly just really good. Like, they're just really good. Not too much to say, and especially when floating, which allows them to get their defense afterwards. it's very, very good. Yeah, so it can be very, very insane, basically, how they run. So, yeah, personally speaking, the team ran more than fine. As you can see, we're breezing through. Like, I haven't even cut this video. I'm not going to edit it or anything because it's only a 15-minute run, which is a pretty good time, especially considering we don't have double LRs. You can see here we are taking a little bit of damage now at this point. That was what I was talking about by the chip damage. Putting a defensive equip on is going to eliminate that chip. So no longer will be taking 10, 9k on the attacks from Goku. We'll instead be taking single digits again. And that's kind of where I reference, you know, having the chip damage will help. You want to transform the Super Saiyan 4s as you get to the tech phase. You could transform them a little bit before, I guess. But for me, there's no real point. Just transfer them in the tech phase, or transform them, I should say, not transfer. Transform them in the tech phase, and you should be more than fine. They'll do a great job. They're going to do fantastic stuff. And you're really not going to have that many issues. Like, transforming them now also has the added benefit of, you know, obviously just giving you a lot more bang for your buck. So you get more out of them for longer. It's also the opportunity for you to use the active skill should you need to. But they're not going to get much from stacking because this phase isn't going to last like 5 or 6 turns or anything. So honestly speaking, it's just transform time. Besides, at this point, you will have run out of their buff, so it's good to kind of have them up the ante and really refresh everything. Just make sure, obviously, you do your best to give them that 24 key, because that's really where they shine. They just need 24 key. A couple of rainbow orbs will help, but they should tank more than fine just with their 24 key. They don't need a lot of the damage reduction to hold things out. So yeah, you should be more than fine. You don't really need to worry too much. Obviously, we got supered on our strength Vegeta, but that's okay. We got damage reduction items which we will be using, but we're going to burst through this phase quite quickly. Remember, Gogeta has that crit chance. He's also got that attacks effective against all types as well. So we've got a lot of mechanisms to help us do damage, and the rest of the team does great damage, like I said. So it's not like we're only relying on Gogeta to perform the damage. We actually just have good damage dealers. At this point, what I do suggest is possibly switching out the AGL Vegeta. I do suggest switching him out, switching in the Goku. That's what I'm doing. And then that's going to just help you avoid taking some unnecessary damage. The AGL Gogeta just can still take a very large amount of damage. So it's just really something that I would suggest avoiding, basically. But Goku, nice big chunky crit there, followed up by Strength Goku, who doesn't crit but still does decent damage. Like I said, this phase goes by so quickly because of just the sheer raw damage of the team. That's why I was saying the team doesn't really need damage items that much. If you hit them with crit, I mean, look, there goes Vegeta. If you hit them with crit, you will be more than fine. Obviously, we get hit by the super attack here. We're okay. We do take a lot of damage, but we're okay. And that's what I mean by, like, Vegeta will be fine, but I still want to push him off rotation because, yeah, we don't have heals. So taking 270k super attacks is not good in the long run, and you can only really take like 2 of those before you get a bit dicey. But we don't even use like the second damage reduction item because we just have so much damage. That's the fun thing about this Giant Ape Power team. The damage it has is freaking nuts. Like, it's nuts. But we finish off Goku with the active skill, and that's it. So yeah, you don't need to have LR Gogeta to finish the event. You do need him as a friend though, but it should work pretty much anything. This was a 79% friend. I think a 55% will work. I don't think you need the full double dupes to make it work, but you'll probably need a better team. But I mean, if you have stuff like a rainbow strength Goku and that, you're going to be more than fine. So that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, leave a like or leave a comment and I'll try and reply back. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.